Hello, my name's Eduardo. Hello, my name is Eduardo Serrano, and this is my speech on implicit biases. Now, I'd like to give you a hypothetical question. Based on these two photos of people right here, who would you feel more comfortable sitting next to? Will it be A, this man with the facial tattoos, or B, this old lady right here? Now, I would like you to think back to these two choices. Did you decide to not sit next to this man right here because of his facial tattoos, and you might relate those to gangs and they might seem violent to you? Or did you decide to sit next to this old lady right here because she reminds you of your grandma who just absolutely loves you? Now, this is an example of implicit bias. And now you might be wondering yourself, what's an implicit bias and why should I care about its effects on people or me? Well, I'm going to tell you why it's important to know these effects on people and how you should reduce these implicit biases in general in your daily life. Now, to start off with the definition from the University of North Carolina, implicit biases are attitudes or stereotypes that unconsciously affect our decisions, understandings, and actions. Now, this essentially means you have a subconscious level of thinking that affects your ideas about people or different things. While this doesn't mean that your preference for pineapple pizza is bad, this does mean that certain other implicit biases are bad and can hurt people in a very bad way. An example of this is a research study done by the Pew Research Center, in which they studied the implicit racial biases of white, black, Asian, and biracial people. Now, in this case, they were looking for the racial preferences of these people. And to be more specific in this case, they looked into the white people, and it was seen that 42% out of 324 white people chose people of white skin color over people who chose black or preferred neither. Now, the reason that I bring this up is that in the current state of America, there are more and more racially aggravated attacks against people of color who seem to just be doing nothing wrong. For example, 2 black men in April of 2018 were arrested for trespassing in a Starbucks property. This story would soon be causing a national outrage as people found out that they were only refused because of their skin color, as the Starbucks employees had let other customers who were white and not paid anything to use the bathroom. This would soon cause a PR nightmare for Starbucks, in which the CEO would make all of their employees take implicit bias training. Now, this is just one example of how implicit biases affect people's lives on the daily. Now, you might be wondering yourself, how do these biases develop in the first place? Well, these biases develop since you're a very young person. Some examples of this are social media, lifestyle, and stereotypes. Now, all of these things influence your implicit biases. But also, this doesn't mean that you're a bigot and who hates someone for their who hates someone for their nationality, race, or gender. This just means you're exposed to a certain different kind of lifestyle that causes you to think about these certain things or ideas in a subconscious manner. Now, you might be wondering to yourself, how can I stop these implicit biases and what should I do? Well, there's a multitude of things that you can do, and thankfully I'm here to tell you. One way is by taking workshop classes that can be offered from your job or work, but also from your school. And from your school, you can also look onto the training programs, and in these training programs, you can look on to the implicit bias training. And in these trainings, they have a multitude of strategies and ideas that can help you learn how to combat these. For example, in the University of California of San Francisco, their implicit bias training helps you identify your biases, understand why you have them, and how to have more diversity in your life in order to combat this. Now, this is also offered in your work, and you could always just ask your boss or manager to help you give you this training. Now, to further conclude it all, I've shown you how these biases develop in people, I've shown you how it affects people on the negative, and I've shown you how you can work on these biases every single day. Thank you for listening.